Evening, everyone. Welcome. We'll wait for the names to keep coming in. Hi, Shauna. Thanks for being here as well. Evening, everybody that's coming in. Hi, Julie. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Is it Julia? Julia? Please forgive me if I pronounced it incorrectly. Oh, we have a second Shauna. Hi, Shauna. Hi, Mary. We're going to wait about 1 minute more or so, and then we'll get things rolling. Hi, Tom. Yes, I can see you in chat. Everybody, if you, throughout the webinar, if you have questions and you want to put them in chat, feel free, and we'll do our best to answer as many as possible as we go along, or save them to the end and do a recap. Hi, Anne. Welcome. Anne's in Boston. Anybody else, if you want to put where you're coming from, that would be awesome. I know some of you, looking at the list of registrants for tonight, some are move managers, some are professional organizers, some are brand new to Maxold as a partner and haven't done an auction yet. So we hope you get lots of information out of this evening. Some of you are returning partners and some have just recently done auctions. So we have a huge mix tonight, which is awesome. Super excited to have so many people spending time with us this evening and making it part of their evening. So, hi, Ellen. Hi, Barb. Barb's in New Jersey. I've got Seattle. Amazing. Oh, and somebody from Ontario. Hi, Janice. All right, we're at 6:02. We're going to get things started. So just a quick introduction. My name's Heather Dusson. I'm the manager of field operations and partner development. So I'll be leading tonight's session over the next hour or so. You'll also see Andrew. He is the seller support manager. So partway through the webinar this evening, Andrew is going to take over and share a portion about the Maxold app. So that you can see it in real time, and we can gather some questions if you have questions after that as well. So again, thank you, everybody. I know your schedules are really busy, so we truly appreciate you taking the time to come and join us this evening. Just a quick reminder as well, too, if you came in and you didn't hear previously, if you have any questions as we go through everything, please feel free to put them in chat. And also after tonight's webinar, we will be drawing a winner and announce in our upcoming newsletter for the Apple AirPods. So stay tuned for that. So with that, I'm going to dive right in. Hopefully everybody can see my screen okay. To clear my throat. And off we go. So tonight's webinar is designed to set you up for continued success. We're going to walk through the key parts of the auction process. So that's setup and organizing, cataloging tips, the app walkthrough, like I mentioned, that Andrew will do, and then pickup day logistics. So we want you to feel confident, prepared, and efficient on every step of the journey. As we're going through as well, too, like I said, if you have any questions, please put them in chat. Some of you, like I noticed, are already organizers and move managers. So some of the information that we share obviously might be very familiar to you, but less familiar to others who are new to being a partner with Maxold. So if you do have things to share, quick tips or suggestions as we go along in chat as well, too, from your own experiences, that would be awesome. So we would also highly encourage each of you to take advantage of the learning platform that we have, which is Teachable. So it has more in-depth guidance and information on the things that we're going to talk about tonight, and some other topics as well. Obviously, we can't get through everything in an hour, but it does dig a little bit deeper into some of the things that we're going to go over. So right out of the gate, our Maxold Seller app guides you through the whole process of auction creation and management, and that's done in 4 steps. So those 4 steps are lot setup, so that's the organization and grouping of your auction items. The catalog creation, and that's the process of photographing and describing your lots by using either smart cataloging. For those of you that are new to us or returning, that's something new, or manual cataloging in our seller app. So from there, you review things and then set your dates. And then finally, the last part of the whole process is hosting the pickup day. So let's move on to the first step in this process, and that's setting up for your auction. So setup matters because when a site's really well organized, everything just becomes easier. So that comes to lotting, photography, and obviously the descriptions and cataloging. But if your site is disorganized, you may run into delays, which we don't want to have happen to you. You may miss valuable items, and it could even potentially reduce the auction's final value. So think of your setup as your launch pad. When you get this part right, the rest of the auction will just naturally fall into place. So in terms of doing this, the first thing is organizing the space. First, go through the site and separate what's for sale and what's not for sale. Remove any garbage, get rid of anything that doesn't belong. So that could be personal paperwork of your client, documents, family photos, things that you know will not be included in the sale. If you're unsure while you're setting things up, and there are certain items that you want to check, we have an items policy list that's located on the support page, and it covers what can and can't be sold on our platform. So it's handy to be able to go through that when you're starting your organizing and setting up to make sure that everything is can be sold on our platform. So once organizing is complete, make sure every item is unwrapped, visible, and within easy reach. For cataloging, really nothing should be buried in boxes if at all avoidable. And also, as a quick note, art, if your client has art in their home where you're doing the auction, it can generally remain on the walls if it's accessible to be able to be cataloged. It doesn't need to be removed necessarily. Start with the hardest areas first. So places like garages, basements, sheds, outbuildings, anywhere that might be cluttered, dusty, or hard to access because of the volume, as it's human nature to try to stay away from those areas first, but we recommend that you tackle them first because that will help you stay on schedule and avoid any fatigue. So as you're setting up, you're going to start looking at groupings and what we would call a lot. So a lot is a group of similar or related items. These could be a lot of kitchenware, it could be a lot of glassware, books, tools. The list is long. The key, though, however, when you lot is to aim for an average auction value of at least $35. So that's not a retail value, but an actual auction value based on buyer behavior. So if a lot is too small as you're setting everything up, consider combining it with related items. That will help generate that $35 value. If it's too mixed or too large, you might also consider splitting it up a bit, because at the end of the day, your goal is to create a really clean, logical grouping that offers clear value to those who are going to be bidding. So some best practices and where some strategy comes in. Steer clear of tiny or singular item lots unless the item is of high value. So by that, I mean, it could be a piece of sterling silver, maybe it's a fine piece of jewelry, a quality watch. Those are fine to be singular item lots. We do suggest using painter's tape as well when you're lotting to mark out each lot, particularly if you're in a situation where you might have dense areas. This makes it easy to catalog, and then it's also easier to photograph. And it's clear what's part of the lot when it comes to pickup time, which is also really helpful. So a few key things to remember during your setup. Items in cupboards can generally stay in cupboards, but box contents should be unpacked unless the entire box is being sold as one lot. So by that, I mean, an example could be maybe a box of or tote of Tupperware. You're not necessarily going to take all those and spread them out for cataloging. You may decide to leave them in one box lot, which is fine, and it would support that $35 value or higher. Lego could be another example. You're not necessarily going to dump a whole tote of Lego out and sort through it. That could be sold as a boxed lot of Lego. Some other things to note, hardwired or mounted items. So these are things like light fixtures or TV wall mounts. Ideally, they should be disconnected before pickup, but if you can do that prior to them being cataloged or during the cataloging, that's better because then you know that it's done. You can check it off your checklist, and it's not something that you have to worry about when it comes to pickup day. It's already set and ready to go. Keep track of how many lots you create in each room. This is really helpful by creating like a simple site map. It could be just as easy as a piece of tape on the entranceway to a room that says, lot 100 to lot 125. And this really helps your cataloging team, if you do have a team that works with you. And it also streamlines the pickup later on, so you can quickly identify where each lot is based on that lot map. So remember that items need to remain where they are throughout the duration of the process, because that will just help speed things up again and make sure everything is in place when it comes to pickup day. For maximizing value and efficiency, if you want to boost the auction's performance, focus on the lotting of valuable items like I touched on a minute ago. So things like jewelry, sterling, maybe it's tools, separately when it's appropriate to do that. If you have a huge pile of tools, as an example, maybe break it down by category or purpose. So it could be, your client had a huge workshop of tools. Maybe they specialized in woodworking tools, or they had antique tools. If you break those into smaller lots and put the woodworking tools together, etc., you could get better results that way, because you're speaking to a particular niche buyer who might be looking just solely for those kinds of tools. Use every available flat surface that you can, like tables and the floor if you have to stage items. But obviously, you want to be mindful of the environment, especially if the site is occupied. So if your client is still living in the home, that's something to take into consideration so that they can still continue to do that through the duration of the auction being live and between cataloging and pickup day. Some partners we've noticed use stackable plastic shelving units that can be broken down and assembled easily from one auction to the next. And this helps display unpacked lots, and it will take advantage of vertical height if in certain situations space is an issue at the location. So to wrap this part up, really great auctions start with great setup. So remember that prep is your power tool. And I'm sure lots of individuals who are move managers, professional organizers can attest to that. If anybody has any tips that they want to share in chat about successful ways that they have found to be able to do this, please feel free. Would love to see that. It's good to share with everybody else who is new at learning all of this. So the next thing that we're going to talk about is a simple but powerful formula to help you maximize the success of each of your auctions that you manage. And we call this the 3 V's. So that's volume, variety, and value. These are the pillars of a really strong auction strategy. And when you apply them together, you can increase traffic, attract more bidders, and then drive higher final sale prices overall. So let's break each one of these down, starting with volume. So more lots can equate to more bidding. We do recommend a minimum of 75 auction lots per sale. And this is because volume creates some momentum. So with more lots, you increase the chances that every bidder finds something that they're interested in. As you can see on the slide, there's an example of a Ontario, Canada auction where we had supported 576 lots. The sell-through rate was amazing at 100%, and the GMV on this auction was $105,800. And then the second example would be from Pasadena, California, also a very large auction. So it shows that we can support those auction sizes for you at 476 lots, 99% sell-through rate, and this auction had a GMV of $36,917. So I referenced those because if you think of it like this, if an auction only has, say, 30 items, a buyer might click through it and leave in a few seconds. But if there are 75, 100, more than that, all the way up to what we were just referencing, they're more likely to stick around, scroll through, and start bidding because they're going to see something, pardon me, that they're interested in. So when you're working with your seller client, counsel them to include as much as possible. don't necessarily discard items that you think might seem small or secondary. If you go back to what I was talking about earlier about grouping and lotting smartly, you can still create value in those lots. So you don't necessarily have to leave those things out. Next in the 3Vs is variety. So a successful auction will appeal to as many buyer interests as possible. Like we mentioned, the broader the range of items that you're able to include, the more types of bidders that you'll attract, and then that translates to more bidding. So even seasonal or outdoor items such as, garden planters, maybe it's gardening gear, patio furniture, grills, all those things will do well as well. It isn't just about having a full catalog, it's about having something that catches the eye of every kind of bidder. Anne has a quick question. I thought it was around 200 lots. It honestly, and those are conversations that you can have when you're setting up your auction. In some instances, if you had a client where time facilitated splitting it up, absolutely you could do that. Sometimes people are under time constraints and they can't do that. But what I would say is we do successfully help partners run larger auctions based on the examples that we're showing on the previous slide. So it is doable. I think it's just generally a conversation that you want to have to figure out if that's what works best for you and your client. Hopefully that answers your question. So the next V is value. So encourage your seller, like I said, to include standout items when possible. So examples on the screen, you can see, we sell vehicles, trucks, fine jewelry, sterling silver flatware, collectibles in terms of coins, stamps, etc. So these items often bring increased site traffic because they garner attention. And that means more eyes are on every lot, whether it's one of these key items or a lot that's a little bit smaller. These are pieces that people search for, they watch and bookmark them to bid, and ultimately they might end up competing over them, meaning more than one person is interested, and now you have that competition of people bidding against each other, which helps drive up the price. So in other words, one high value piece can really effectively lift the whole auction. So a few key takeaways if you want to run a strong auction every time, do your best to lean into those 3Vs. So volume, variety, and value. And then when you help your clients hit all three, you're really setting them up as best as possible for success and creating the kind of auction experience that buyers keep coming back for. We do, Andrew will show this in a little bit, but we do have in the app now a fantastic feature that shows the valuation when you take a photo of what a similar item has sold for, on our site in the past. Does anyone in the group has anybody had the opportunity to use that feature in the new app yet? Yes, says Anne. And how was it? Amy as well. That's awesome. It's pretty cool. Definitely something that's a game changer for sure. So we're really pleased that that's in the app now as well. Awesome. So, oops. Sorry, I just skipped the slide. Pardon me. So next up is cataloging. This has a big impact on buyer engagement and auction success. And those two things in cataloging are your lot titles and descriptions. This is how buyers find what they're looking for. So a really strong standardized title and an accurate description don't just help items sell, they reduce refunds, build trust in your auctions, and ensure a smooth experience. I'm going to come back to your question, Tom. Sorry. Your lot title is the first thing buyers see, and it's what shows up in search results. So you want your titles to be very clear, keyword rich, and consistent. So some important things to keep in mind. Use brand names. If the lot does contain a brand name, absolutely put it in the title because it helps with searchability. Avoid vague or generic terms like lot or miscellaneous or knickknacks or decor, because Buyers don't search under those terms. The more specific you can be, the better. It really doesn't support SEO if we're putting in a title or a description knickknacks, because it really doesn't say what it is. Use terms like antique or vintage or specific woods only if you're 100% sure is what we would recommend. You don't want to necessarily open up the window for the potential for someone to say that's not antique or that's not vintage. Another one I would say that sometimes gets overused is mid-century modern. If it's genuinely mid-century modern, absolutely put that in the title or the description. You want to make sure that you're representing it the way that it actually is. Tom, so is there a new app or a newer version of the app? Yes, there is, Tom, and you are going to get a full view of that midway through here when Andrew does the demo. So stay tuned for that. Descriptions. So setting a clear expectation with descriptions, they give your buyers the details they need to make informed bids. So a really strong description is just as important as the title. It helps prevent confusion, avoids refund issues, and protects everybody involved. So here are some things to focus on in terms of the description. It's better, again, to stick to facts. So opinions like beautiful or rare or cool, that might be what one person thinks it is, but not necessarily what another person may think it is. And it's not so black and white. So we suggest avoiding those in terms of your description. If it's something electric or mechanical, you can describe it as untested, unless your seller has stated that it works. Then you can absolutely add working as per seller, or if you know that to be true yourself. Some individuals will actually take a photo. Say if we use a lamp as an example, they'll take a photo with the lamp on and working so that people can see that it's fully functioning. For books, in terms of descriptions, do your best to list the genre. So it could be a lot of mystery books, maybe it's children's books, cookbooks. This way, again, you're speaking to a certain individual who may be just interested in purchasing one of those genres. If you're describing jewelry, so this is a big one, flatware or serving pieces, only call something silver or gold, meaning don't use it as a color. If those pieces are actually true, clear silver or gold, and it's clearly marked, so that by that I mean like 925, 10 karat, 12 karat, etc., then you can describe it as silver or gold. So make sure to verify too if there's any further markings on anything. So a piece of jewelry might say 10K, but behind that 10K mark, it might say GF, which would mean it's gold filled. So technically it's not 100% 10 karat gold or solid 10 karat gold. It's gold filled, or it could be gold plated. So those are important details to include, and also really good if you can take a very clear photo of that. So visually customers can understand what it is that they're bidding on. We also suggest avoiding guessing any gemstone types, and don't necessarily weigh precious metals unless, of course, you happen to be professionally trained to do so. Then absolutely go ahead and do that because you've been trained how to do it, and you have an appropriately calibrated scale, etc. Finally, one of the last things and biggest things is always check for damage and describe it. So let buyers know what kind of condition to expect. Because being upfront just avoids any frustration and refund issues potentially later on. So it's a good best practice to include any damage. In your description, there's also a spot for measurements. So measurements are really a key part of the description, so don't forget to include those. I would say the most frequent question that we have come up in our QA feature from buyers to sellers is measurements. And the reason why measurements are important is somebody's either trying to get a very good understanding of, will this fit in my space? And you don't want to lose out on that buyer, knowing if it's going to work for them in the spot that they want to put it in. And then the other thing is transportation. How are they going to get this item from the site back to their location? So measurements are very important. In terms of furniture and art, we do measure in inches, so that's width, depth, and height for the furniture, as you can see in the example on the screen and how we put it in the description. And then height and width for art. Rugs are measured in feet, and a quick tip with rugs, there's generally, unless somebody's removed it, usually there's a fact tag on the underside of the rug in one of the corners. Oftentimes it will give you the what the material the rug is made of. It also could give you the actual measurements of the rug, and maybe even country of origin or where it was made. So that's a quick tip for some extra information in terms of rugs. TVs and monitors, you can use the model number on the back sticker. This will give you the first 2 digits that usually tell you the size of the screen, which is a quick little hack. And then back to jewelry again, if at all possible, it's a great best practice to include chain lengths, especially on fine jewelry, and ring sizes. Because again, you may lose out on attracting more bidders if someone wants to purchase for themselves and they don't know the size of the ring. Is it going to fit me or not? Or I'm buying it as a gift for someone. So if that's not included, there's a chance that someone may just decide to go past it and not end up bidding. Or it takes the extra time for them to reach out and ask the question. So it's better if it's there right from the start. In that description as well, too, is something that we have unique to Maxsold, and that's pickup categories. So you will need to add a pickup category, as you can see on the screen. I won't read through each one, just in the event of saving some time, but this prints on their invoice and helps organize the day for yourselves in terms of what the pickup will look like. So as you can see on the screen, A through D and E, Z is a little bit different. This would mean it could be something like a stair lift or a large item where arrangements may be needed to be made to remove the lot outside of the normal pickup time. So just a quick recap for descriptions, and then I'm going to stop talking and move this on to Andrew for his demo. Double check your spelling and grammar. Sometimes autocorrect is not your friend and autocorrect something that's incorrect. So it's a good best practice to look through all of those. Same with smart cataloging, to just double check that everything is okay. The more accurate and informative your title and your description are, the more confident your buyers will be, which is just a good thing overall. So summing it up, a clear and concise lot title will get the attention, and a detailed factual description helps build that confidence. And together they will drive bids, reduce issues, and just overall deliver a professional experience. And now I'm going to switch over to Andrew.
Or just a question that I was not equipped to answer it.
Seeley, how do you define mid-century modern? Is there a standard guideline? So yes, Shauna, I think answered the question. 1950 to 1970. Sometimes it morphs out of those time ranges, but that's ideally exactly the time range that would be considered mid-century modern. I know it's a very what's the word I'm looking for? Frequent use. It doesn't always mean that it's mid-century modern, which could be confusing for people. So the clearer it is, the better. Thanks, Shauna. Was there a question before that as well?
Nope, that was it.
Was it? Okay. Yep. I'm going to stop talking. Take it away, Andrew. Thank you.
All right. So yeah, I'm hoping everybody can see my screen at this point.
Sure can. Hopefully everybody else too.
So today I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate the new app. Just to clarify, there are 2 apps. Just to kind of go back to that question from previous. There is still the older version of the app located in the app stores. It is an X on a blue background, and it is titled Seller App. As a result, it does cause a little bit of confusion because the new app is both for seller and buyer. So it's just the Maxsold app, and it is the X on a white background, and it is definitely the one that we would highly recommend that you use because the old one, we do not have a lot of access to fix any sort of errors that may take place in it. So yeah, so just to clarify that. So this is the new app. So once you log into the seller side of it, this is the screen that you'll be staring at. As you can see at the top, if you had any active sales, it would be giving you just brief overview of how the sale is doing, what the current bids are at, and things like that, how many days are left on it. Obviously, this one says 126 days, which is just very unrealistic. We'll never have an auction run that long. This is just a tester auction. So we can't see the app. Okay. We ran into this issue once before, Heather. You're muted.
Of course I am. Can everybody see in the top where it says Andrew Buse device? Let me see here, Andrew. I've clicked on multiple participants can share simultaneously. Is anyone seeing? Oh, I see yeses. Who is it that isn't able to see?
I think it was Julie.
Julie, can you see it now? Oh, hmm. Oh, Jessica, sorry. Um,
I think in the
the
past when
ones,
we had this
yeah,
issue, that person had to leave the webinar and come back
yeah.
before they were able to see it.
I was just going to say the same thing. Jessica, are you okay exiting? Oh, never mind.
Okay.
She got it. Do we have anybody else as well?
I think Julie was still seeing the Maxwell Seller app walkthrough. So that's still the
Julie,
your
were you able to?
presentation.
Let's see if Julie found it. If not, Julie, our suggestion might be what Andrew mentioned. I hate to. Oh, never mind. No. There should be a tab that has a little green icon AB and it says Andrew Buse device. I'll make sure you can see that because this is a. If for someone for some reason you're still not able to see it, Julie, the recording that we send you, you should be able to view it afterwards because everyone will get a recording in the next 24 hours. If you want to exit and come back in, feel free to do so. I hate to lose you, but you can give it a try if you want. Okay.
So
And
I'm going to continue through. Anything that you missed, again, will be in the recording. So if you decide to leave and come back, but so just kind of moving forward with the demonstration here. So there's the 5 tiles that you're looking at. Buyer app, if you wanted to go view auctions as a buyer and bid, that's where you would click. Start a new sale. That's if you don't have an active sale, you want to get started. You're going to go in there to get your auction ID. Join an existing sale is if you have created a sale, but you have employees that are going to be assisting you or other people that are helping with the catalog. They'll go in there to join on the sale that you have created through use of an auction ID and PIN, which I'll share when we get in there. Manager sales is where you'll see all your auctions and what various different stages they're at, whether or not it's in cataloging stage, pending review, or live or closed. And then settings, different options in there. You can update your password. This is where you're going to enter your payment details for how Maxwell pays you, and things of that nature. So for today, we're going into manager sales. So you can see I have the live one, I have cataloging, I have one with pending review. I don't have any past sales as of yet, but we're working on that. So we'll go into this one here. So once you get into your sale, this is what the screen you'll be looking at. So again, at the top, you'll have the auction ID that's there, so you can verify you are working on the correct auction in case you have multiple on the go. The gear cog in the top right corner, that's specific catalog settings. So in here, you can manage your users. You can assign a payee. So if the payment's going to a client and not directly to yourself, this is where you'll assign it to that client and be able to get them in there. Pick up information, marketing images, all that kind of stuff, but you can also do that a different route. So you have the opportunity to add a lot. It's just going through adding a lot. The share function, this is where you get a QR code where you can kind of scan anybody who's joining the catalog and just scan the QR code and get in that way, or you can share the auction ID and PIN with them so they can join that way. Sync, so you can put on low data mode through settings, and what that does is it will automatically upload titles and description, but photographs will not upload. And so once you're in a strong Wi-Fi or data connection, that's when you'll hit sync, and that way that'll save all the photos through from what you've taken on the phone up into the web-based version of the app. And then publish, that's when you're done creating your catalog and you're ready to set dates. It's going to run you through the process of setting your marketing images, choosing the dates for the sale, and the pickup times themselves. So 3 different types of lots that you can do. So manual cataloging, you're going in, taking the photographs, creating your own title, creating your own description, just similar, or not similar, exactly what Maxhold has been. But we now have introduced two other options that you can take advantage of. One being smart cataloging, where you take three photographs and AI analyzes those. You answer some questions and it spits out a title and description for you, which I will demonstrate momentarily. And then photo only, if you're in an area where data is a concern and you're working off low data mode, you can take all the photographs themselves and you can add comments to them for reminders that you want for later. And then at a later time in the web-based version of the app, you can go through then and do smart cataloging through there, which I will show you as well. So there is a URL, and I will demonstrate after this as well. So we'll get into that. So it's what I'm continuously going to refer to as the web-based version of the app. It's just a browser version of the app. There are a couple different things that you can do in there that you can't do in the app, but essentially both of them work exactly the same. They're just a little bit different of a look. So we're going to go into smart cataloging. So as soon as you tap on that, you'll get in there. So it just kind of gives you some tips on what photos to take. We'll hit next, and we're just going to take three photos. So I have this art glass bowl, which I know has, there it is. Photo. So just three clear images of the device itself. And you also want to keep out, so I did take the first, had the tag on it, but there's also the etched signature on the bottom. It's difficult. So as soon as you take the three photos, it automatically starts to analyze. This will take a few moments to work for you. It's got to run through, so it's going to depend on the difficulty of the item itself. It's going to depend on the internet connection that you're currently working with, a couple different factors, but it's usually fairly quickly. So now it's just going to ask us a few questions just to confirm some things. So hand-blown glass bowl, decorative paperweight round form. I don't like that. So it's a hand-blown glass bowl, and it is decorative. I wouldn't call it a paperweight though. So, like I said, you can edit everything at any point in time. So that's good. Glass, yes. Hand-blown swirled art glass. We're just going to call it hand-blown glass. Next. Pale yellow swirl pattern. That's correct. Yep. Dimensions at this time, they're unknown to me. I may want to add them in at a later time. So I'm going to hit skip. Not visible in photos, unknown. Yeah. So I guess I didn't get I don't want it to state Murano. What I am going to put on here is the actual brand that I saw on it. Next. And yeah, that works. So next, and then now it's generating everything for us. Okay, so here's the title. Again, you can edit this at any point in time. I like this, so we're going to hit next. There's the description that it comes up with. To make sure you're reading through the description, verifying it for accuracy. AI is fantastic, but sometimes it can make mistakes. This looks good, so we're going to stick with that. Hit next, and then it's going to give you suggestions for further pictures that you want to take. With lots, we do recommend having a minimum of 3 photos, but the more photos, the better it is. So buyers can get a full picture of exactly what it is that they're buying into. We're going to hit next, and here we go. So we have the photos at the top, plus there's one more, so we can click on that to open that up. We can add more images. Right now, I have lot number auto generator turned on. You can turn that off if you want to create your own lot numbers, but for today, I have it just going from 1 and working its way up. Title, I can edit this at any time. Description, I can edit this at any time. I can add in my dimensions, and I can change my pickup category. By default, it's automatically going to set it as A. So if you do want something different, just make sure you are changing that. And then we have down here at the bottom, as Heather was referencing earlier, similar items and what they've sold for in the past on Maxhold. So it kind of gives us an idea if we're staying within that value of the per lot itself. At the top, if you don't like this, you can delete it. There's a little red trash can up there as well. There's also, if you added any sort of notes, there would be internal notes on that you can view. So that's that. So we're all done there. It automatically saves the lot as soon as you do it, so there's no concern with that. So now what we're going to do is go into the photo only section. So photo only is just taking photographs of an item. You can also just upload them from a camera roll. You've already taken them. Same thing, just to take the pictures themselves. So we just got this little speaker here. We got that photo, get a couple photo of the buttons itself. And then we have the bottom, which does have the details of it. Get a photo, a separate photo of the strap and, whatever it may be. So that's good. So we're done with the photographs. We're happy with all of that. So confirm. And then we can add a note. So store the just so this is a section you would want to use just if there's any sort of reminder, like if I had a scuff on this, make sure that as a reminder you want to include that in the description or anything like that. So that's good. So we've sent that, it automatically created that lot and it's done. So you can see that it's in there. The photos will pop up, but it doesn't have any title or description as of yet. So what I'm going to do next is move over to the web-based version of the app. Is this one. Okay. And everybody can see that screen now? Suppose I just closed my chat box, so yeah, okay. Okay. Perfect. Okay, so this is the URL version that you were referencing earlier. This is the web-based version of the app. It operates very similar. So you can see in the left-hand column, we do have manage my sales, new sale, join a sale, and settings. Same features that are contained within. By default, it's always on the manage my sales section of it. And so this is the auction that we were working with here. So we'll go back into here. And so we can see a few different things on here. So we have total lots is 2, lots without title or description, and lots with comment. So if I just want to pull up any lots that I have without title or description, I can just click on that and it's going to feature that in front of me there. We also have it organized by category over here. So if I had alternate categories to go from, then I could click on that just to pull up all category A items. When you're looking at the catalog itself, we have different ways that you can organize it. What makes the most sense is the lot number, but you can also do, by the day it was created or from A to Z if that's how you want to organize it. At the top, you have add a new lot, so you can create lots within here. Print, usually we use that, to save it as a PDF if you wanted to share it that way. Agreements are just the agreement itself to sign off on. Like if you had a client that you were working with, but you created the auction, you can send them an agreement so you can add them to the catalog as a, I can't, sorry, the term is escaping me right now, but you add them to the catalog as a consigner, that was it, which will send them an agreement that they need to sign off on as well. So you can track whether or not they have signed off on that agreement. Share, same thing, gives you the auction ID and PIN, and then you have the publish button if you're done with the catalog itself. You also have the settings up in the top right corner that you can work with. And this is where you would go to turn off that auto generate lot number if you want to create your own lot numbers. Okay, so this is the one that we did the photos only for. So I've clicked on it and now I'm in this lot. If I clicked on the wrong one, in the left-hand column, you will see all lots that are created. So you can kind of go through there. And again, you can organize it however you so choose. This one here, the stars at the bottom just show that this one was smart cataloged. This little icon is just showing us that there is a note on this specific lot. So we have on here at the top, the notes here I can review. I can copy this. If I created this in the wrong auction, then I can copy it to another auction and then from there delete it. If I had multiple of these items, then I can duplicate this lot once I've completed making it, just to kind of save you some time on that one. So what we're going to do is Smart Catalog, and we are going to use the lot images and just choose the 3 images and then hit start. And it's just doing the same thing. And while that's analyzing any notes that you've written, you can look at here and then just to remind yourself of anything that you wanted included in the title and description itself. So the brand is Soar. That's correct. Correct. Connectivity Bluetooth. Yeah. So it's pulling all that information from the tag on the bottom of the speaker itself. Used, not tested, cosmetic March present. I like that because I have not physically tested the item, so I want to make sure that that's it's written in there. If you are working on behalf of a client and they say that an item is working, you can always put untested but working as per seller, something to that effect. And then that's good. And so here we go. Gives us the title, the description. Again, you can edit it anytime. You can add in dimensions if they're relevant to the lot, and you can very easily change to a different pickup category. Oh, did I miss a question?
Oh no, it's okay. All good.
Okay.
I accidentally, when I answered Tom's question, sorry, Tom, it was only set to host and panelists, so you couldn't see my answer. So I think that answers your question. He was just asking about the format in Smart Cataloging, how it's bulleted.
Okay.
But it does revert to more of a sentence structure once the auction goes live and is on the
Yeah.
website.
Yeah.
You're very welcome. And there is one other question in here, but I'm not sure if Andrew, I might need you to look at this one. It's from Barbara. Are the prices posted across the entire platform, including Canada, or are they US based only? Is this
So
configurable?
entire platform. Yeah, it's an entire platform because it tries to match the items based on what's closest to what is being displayed from the photographs that are shown. And so we want to make sure that we're using everything across the platform to make sure we're getting the most accurate data. So I mean, you take that with a grain of salt because obviously there are going to be price differences between Canada and the US. So I mean, keep that in mind when you are looking at that. It's just to give you an idea of what things have sold for, what interest it's driven up in the past, and things like that. Hope that answers that.
Thanks.
So the last thing I just want to go over. So if you already have your pictures taken, you can come in here, add a new lot. Again, on left-hand column, you can search the lots. I just clicked on add a new lot, and that's how we got here. And we're going to go to Smart Cataloging, and I'm going to upload some images, which I that is a good question, and I'm not. Don't quote me on this, please. But I do believe they are listed in Canadian. I believe by default it is listed in Canadian, but you do set your country code when you're signing up for the app itself. So in that scenario, if you set your country code for USA, then that would be transfer you over to US pricing. Okay. So I just dropped 3 photos in there of an item. So a simple tower, that's correct. So a simple Lego set if I wanted to, but that is good. It is Lego. It is absolutely Barad-dûr, Eye of Sauron. Oh, that's that one there. Perfect. So we can change that. I don't remember the amount, primary colors, all over the place. All of these make sense. So that's that. Or you don't have to include it in there. You can just let the photos speak for themselves. Use assembled appears complete. So that's good. And assemble tower. Oh, we have minifigures as well. That's good. And then it's going to generate this for us. So those are the 3 different ways that you can go ahead and create lots. We'll make this a category D. And again, down on the bottom, that's shown there and shown for me, it's shown in Canadian. But if you were a US seller and you set your country code for US, it would show in the US prices. So yeah, everything's on here. I can always edit this at any point in time. I can add the height of this item if I so wanted to. As far as the categories go, category D and E is if you're having a larger sale. So if your sale was, let's say, above 150 lots, it's a tool that you can utilize to kind of organize everything in a little bit to kind of separate everything into those time blocks for the pickup day itself. Okay, and then just back at the main catalog, we can see everything here. Everything's good. If there was any issues with anything, you would see either a red bar or a yellow bar. Red bar means it needs to be fixed before you can proceed with setting your dates. Yellow bar means we have a suggestion that you should take care of before you set your dates, but ultimately, if you so choose, you can still set your dates with that. So with that, that is everything that I had to share. Is there any other questions in regards to that? Yes, I was cataloging on the web. So with that latest one that I did, I just uploaded photos. So if you create a lot, click on Smart Cataloging, you can upload images or you can use the lot images. So what I did is I uploaded images and I just grabbed three images from a folder that I have and drag them and drop them into this section here, and it immediately started cataloging, doing the smart cataloging process. And so with that, again, you can come into here and you can put more photos in. You can click it to kind of open everything up and take it from there. Perfect.
All right. So
back to you.
Go back to me, and Andrew's part is far more exciting than this next part, which is the pickup process, but this is actually a very important part of closing out your auction and doing the final things. And that's pickup day. So hopefully, I'm just going to double check everybody can see my screen okay, and me for that matter. Forgot to turn my camera back on. Oh, another good question. Yes, I believe that's available to do, Andrew. Barbara was asking, can she set up a practice auction on the site?
Yeah, so you can definitely set up an account and just kind of have a note in there as a test auction or a practice auction, however you want to differentiate that, just to kind of get a feel for what you're doing. And at any point in time when you're done using that, you can just reach out to us and we can cancel that and get that off the app itself once you're done with it.
Perfect. Okay, all good questions. Keep them coming. Thanks, guys. So here we are with pickup process. So pickup day logistics. It's one of the most critical and sometimes overlooked part of a successful auction. And that is the pickup process. So pickup day is where everything comes together. It's the final interaction that you have in terms of the buyer, the day that you and your client obviously highly anticipate, and it's your chance to leave a lasting impression. So a professional and organized pickup will again help build trust, prevent any issues, and then encourage obviously repeat business, not only for yourself, but then also for Maxsold as well too. So we'll dive into a few of these in terms of how to prep for pickup. Pickup is usually a one-day event. Lasts anywhere, generally speaking, from 3 to 8 hours. If you have a team helping you out, that's great, or other individuals, we would highly recommend that based on the size of your auction. So if you do have a team, you should arrive a minimum of about 30 minutes early just to walk the site, identify if there's any risks, make sure and confirm all the lots are there and where they should be. You can see on the screen we have basic recommendations and guidelines for staffing based on how many lots you might have in your auction. Once you get over 200 lots, we do suggest having 5 staff if at all possible. And then also to note, sometimes these may change a little bit or fluctuate in certain situations. So your site might be a condo. You may need to have an extra person because based on the condo board, you might need to have someone in the lobby to greet people. Then you might need an extra person on the elevator to take customers up and down. So those things should all be taken into account when you're organizing what your pickup day will look like. So prior to pickup, we call them, our full service team, we call them team leads. You can call them whatever you like. It might be yourself. It might be somebody that you've assigned to do this. They can be considered a lead or a point of contact person. So that individual should print the invoice report, or they can pull it up on a device and sort by last name. High value invoices over $300 should be highlighted in some manner because those buyers will need to show some additional ID, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Best practices for a good and successful pickup day to make sure things run smoothly. Set up your signage just before the event starts to prevent all those early birds who sometimes want to come before things start to progress. Use a safe place for any high value items. So things like jewelry or coins, you don't necessarily want those sitting out in full view. So it's preferable that you keep them in your possession on your person somewhere, or somebody that you trust to hold them. Or you can hide them. Some people put them in a fridge or an oven, knowing that those items are not included in the auction, and it's a safe space to keep them. Yes, and printing by last name is very helpful. Keep your layout clear and efficient. So a really clean entry and exit paths are really a must. It just helps things flow and move along well. So in terms of team roles, there are two main roles. I've mentioned the leader, point of contact person. So they're that individual that greets customers, assigns staff or runners, and manages the customer service aspect of any issues on site. So it could be something's broken or maybe something's missing. It's better to have that one direct individual to help communicate and handle all those situations. So the lead would hold the master invoice list. Again, they look after refunds. And then at the end of everything, either they or yourself, depending on if you are that person, would submit the seller pickup report within 24 hours, which is really important. And I'll reference that again in a second too. Along with that leader point of contact person, you would have other individuals, staff, runners, whatever you would like to call them. They're the people who escort buyers to their lots. And of course, most importantly, make sure that no buyer is ever left alone on site and unattended. Pardon me. So during the pickup, when buyers arrive, they would check in, like I said, with that leader point of contact person at a designated entrance, make sure that individual is really visible. Ask for the individual's last name and invoice number. So you can see on the screen, invoice number is in the top right corner, just above the date. Check them off on your master list and then assign them a runner. So again, at all times, we want to make sure buyers are escorted so that they can efficiently get to their lots with some assistance, pack things up and take them away. And of course, as well, you're responsible for the seller's premises. So we want to make sure that individuals are not unattended or on their own. As a helpful aid, don't forget during pickup, you can reference that site map that I was talking about earlier that you created during cataloging, because this will help you quickly identify where certain lots are, because it will show those lots and where they are located by each room that they're in. So let's take a moment to talk about pre-packing. We do have some partners and individuals who do pre-pack items for customers, and I will transparently say it's absolutely not necessary, and we recommend that you actually don't do it. The reason I say this is it will save you time, packing materials, all of the headache and heartache in the long run. Buyers know and are expected to bring packing supplies and inspect their own lots before they leave. So sometimes if things are too wrapped up ahead of time, now they're taking time to unwrap it, have a look at it, which isn't as efficient. So by not doing this, it helps reduce any disputes, refund requests after an individual leaves the site. We really want to be able to identify anything and support you with it while they're still there. So it just ensures that they're satisfied with everything that they purchased and received prior to leaving. Did I see a question come up? Bundling lot, sorry. Bundle for winning bidders of all smalls. Okay, so when you say like you bring their lots closer to the door sort of thing, or do you like actually wrap them up? I guess would be my question. Okay, cardboard trays, that's good because they can still see what the lot is and inspect it. And then bundle closer to the door. Perfect. Okay.
There was a question earlier from Ellen that I did answer a little bit, but just to kind of double back to that, what lot numbers that you're using, it doesn't really matter that much. However, some people do want to take advantage of putting higher value items in the top list, or even sprinkling them like a higher value item sprinkled in throughout the lot numbers. Everybody has a different way of doing it. But again, like I said earlier, as the auction progresses during the live sale, it's automatically going to be by default organized by the lots that have the most bids on them. So it's not the ones that are the highest price per se, just the ones that are gauging the most interest from multiple different buyers.
For buyer identification, so I was mentioning earlier about those invoices over $300. So for generally speaking, for most individuals, anything under 300, they just show the invoice either printed or on their phone, and that's enough. For those invoices over $300 and of a higher value, we do require that you ask for 2 extra pieces of ID. So that's a photo ID and a credit card used for the purchase. This, just want to be clear though, is a visual check only. You don't need to copy or take photos of anybody's ID or card information. It's just really to confirm that it matches. You want to make sure that the items are going with the right individual, and that's it. If someone else is picking up on the buyer's behalf, they should have notified Maxwold ahead of time and ideally have a copy of the required ID and card, because they would have reached out to support to let us know, and we would then reach out to you. In terms of handling issues and refunds, I can't go into great detail in terms of the length of the webinar. However, I do suggest, if you haven't already, going through those teachable modules, because we do dig into it a little bit more. But I will say, sometimes, something goes wrong, or a lot is missing, or something gets damaged for whatever reason. So in these cases, that lead individual that I was talking about really should be the only one who manages refunds by discussing the issue with the buyer, coming to an agreement, and putting it clearly in that report that I was mentioning. Situations are rare, but sometimes they can be a little bit sensitive. And like I said, for further guidance and recommendations in terms of refunds, we do have the module in the partner support teachable training that you can reference. So for a quick example, a buyer might arrive to a pickup. The lot was listed as sterling silver flatware, and upon looking at it, they suspect the items are not sterling silver, but maybe they're a silver plate instead. So they may approach one of the staff. That individual would then bring them to that lead point of contact. Not make any attempt to resolve, that staff member not make any attempt to resolve it on their own or make any refund amount promises ahead of speaking to that lead or point of contact. Hand that individual over, say they have some a concern or potentially a misidentified lot, and then you would take it from there. So evaluate the claim, inspect the item with the buyer, confirm whether there is an error or not. And then if that lead point of contact person agrees that this qualifies as a valid issue, there's a couple of resolution options. So if the buyer wants to keep the item despite the issue, the lead should offer a partial refund. It's up to you to decide what that would be. If the buyer chooses to decline the entire lot based on the error, because technically in this instance it was miscatalogued, as long as they leave without it, a full refund would be approved. One important thing to note, no cash refunds should be issued on site, because we really do, support really needs records on the buyer's account of what transpired. So we highly recommend that there's no cash being exchanged during pickups. You do document all of this on the seller managed pickup report. So that would be the buyer's name, the invoice number and lot number, what the refund decision was it partial or full, the amount, etc. Reason for the refund in this case might be misidentified as sterling silver, and then what happened with was the item picked up and partial refund issued, or was it left behind? The final part of this is a final site walkthrough. So before you leave the site, make sure to remove all your Maxwold signage, do a final walkthrough to check for any unclaimed lots. Make notes directly on your invoice report, because this will help you fill out that final seller pickup report. And then one thing to note, which we hadn't made clear previously in the past webinars, was any unsold items within the auction, so it didn't sell at all, you don't need to include that on your report. Ideally, you having that invoice report prior to pickup, you can identify what's not sold, and sometimes it might benefit having a conversation with your client or the seller to decide what to do with those items. Do they give them away on pickup day? Do they decide to hang on to them and give them to a family member? Maybe they organize and decide they want those items to go to charity, because the whole point is to be able to clear everything out of the home as best as possible, or location. So the leaving the site, making sure that you've removed all the signage, completing that sort of exit checklist of what is there and what is not, so it ensures nothing is left behind. Everybody knows exactly what's been picked up and what has not been picked up. And then the very last part of this is wrapping the pickup up right. So once it's complete, you will fill out the seller managed pickup report. So this step ensures that we close out the auction properly for you and your client. We resolve anything that's outstanding, and really it gives buyers and sellers a professional experience. So the key with this is the report should be completed and submitted within 24 hours of pickup. We want to make sure to identify all the necessary information. You can see on the screen all the details that you can include. You are not required, again, like I said, to include any items that were not sold in this particular report. And then of most importance, without your completed report, we will just automatically assume that you're 100% in agreement with any refund requests or feedback sent by buyers. So this is why it's so important to fill it out accurately and completely and submit it as soon as possible. Because failure to send in the report could mean that you or your client's auction proceeds could be delayed while we're identifying if there were any outstanding issues. So like I said, what the report covers is on the slide. And then once you've wrapped up, take a few minutes to complete that report. It's a quick process. Sooner it's submitted, the report will close the loop on your auction. And then pickup is that very last chapter in your auction story. When it's done really well, it leaves buyers happy, sellers are satisfied, and obviously ensures your auction runs smoothly from start to finish. I don't know if anybody had any other questions.
I just wanted to clarify. I was talking with Shauna. So MaxSold handles all the payments. Basically, what ends up happening is as soon as the auction closes, we're withdrawing from the payment that the buyer has provided to us. So that is all taken care of ahead of time before the pickup takes place.
Awesome. That is all we have for you all tonight. Thanks for spending an extra 5 minutes. We went a little bit over. Hope you got a lot out of the webinar this evening. Don't forget that we'll pick an AirPod winner in the next week or so, and we're going to announce that winner in our upcoming newsletter. So stay tuned for that, and good luck to everybody. And also, like I said, we'll send out the webinar recording in the next 24 hours. Your feedback is always welcome. There is a spot that you can put some information in there if you so choose. So if there's anything you'd like to learn about, please reach out and let us know. Our aim is always to support your journey as a partner and elevate the experience for you and your clients. So I hope you all took something away from tonight. Thank you so much for coming this evening and spending some time. It's been awesome. Thanks, guys. Have a good night. Bye.